It's Monday, March 10th. This is a midday SPY update, and now today, halfway through the first day of the week, we have some good reference points going forward for today and for, possibly the rest of the week as well. First of all, if you look at the 15-minute chart, we kind of gapped down a little bit today, and there was a good sell opportunity moving below the first bar low and the pre-market lows on bar number 3 here, and that's taken us down in one push, a little bit of a pause and a second push down, and we're still kind of grinding our way lower. What's really unfolding now to start the week is, first of all, from the weekly chart, you had the big red bar from last week. You were kind of expecting that low to be tested. The question was going to be whether you were going to start up first and maybe, hold the midpoint of that bar, test those lows, or in this case, start down immediately. So since we've started down immediately and taken out the low of that bar, which is the low of this target, it's still technically an inflection point since we have 4 days to go in this week, and anything can happen with this weekly bar going forward, even though, it looks red at the moment. On the daily chart, we had a little bit of a reversal day yesterday or on Friday, but it started below the midpoint of that day and moved lower today. So we didn't start higher first and then roll over. Instead we're starting lower, and this could mean a potential failure. But the failure now is very clear, in two ways. First of all, we have the open of the week here, the purple line. So until we get above that area, then, we stay biased to the downside. And for all we know, we can stay red all week long and head down to these, this 540 area, much lower, 20 points lower. As long as day by day we could do that. It's possible that we reverse to the upside, but what's going to happen now, we have two reference points. We have the open of the week right here at the purple line, and we kind of have this little liquidity area here. So if price should rally up here a little bit, let's watch closely and see if it takes out this liquidity up here, can't really get above the open, and then reverses back to the downside and continues that downward trend. So this is another important area to watch if we rally up. It might look like we're trying to reverse, but we could just be taking out liquidity. So we have that key little reference point that aligns with the open of the week, and that's pretty good to know whether to stay to the downside for today and for the rest of the week, or potentially reverse to the upside. Also, what I'm looking for is on the weekly chart, it's a very small little red bar at the moment, so who knows, like I said, we could reverse up and get through that open and go up all week. I'm not necessarily anticipating that, but that's what would happen. Or if we kind of grind lower all week on the daily chart but can't move much lower, this could end up a very small red bar, or neutral looking bar by the end of the week, and maybe we get a 2 up into next week. And I was kind of discussing this as this big red bar was forming, taking out lower lows down here, that in order to get a reversal, it might be tricky on this week because of the red bar. But if we have a small little week here and then a 2 up, that could be a sign that we're making the higher highs, the lower lows, not going to these lower targets, and eventually trying to move up, for the rest of the month and maybe into next month. So that's something to keep an eye on. But for the moment, I could easily see this being red, not holding, at the moment, it doesn't look like we're reversing here at all. And therefore, we could have a sharp, another red bar all the way down here. And we're going to stay biased to the downside until things change. So given the midday of the first day of the week, we kind of know the reference points now to look going forward for any reversal. And we stay biased to the downside until proven otherwise. And, intraday, we now have a liquidity area that we're going to watch closely should price head higher. But truthfully, all we had today was kind of sell opportunities, and we kind of know the reference point of where it has to reverse to start to the upside. And quite frankly, even if it does, move above this open, if it does it early in the week, it's still possible we come up for a couple of days and then roll back over. If that happens more, if it happens early in the week and then strongly follows through, then that's a good sign we might be reversing. If it happens later in the week, it's going to be like a hammer bar to the upside, and that could be a good sign of a reversal too. So it kind of depends, how this bar is going to end up looking by the end of the week. But I just wanted to point out kind of what's unfolding here, the reference points, and we stay biased to the downside both today and for the rest of the week until we can really get something that starts to move above this weekly open.